I tend to admire them quite a lot. I'll tell you that. And they tend to respect me as well. What up, y'all? I figured why not make this video. So something I've been delving into recently, I've kind of been fascinated by. Not the first time I've been fascinated by this type, but right now I've been like honing in on them recently. INTPs. I tend to be I have a ton of respect for INTPs. They tend to fascinate me with their perspectives on things because it's like, okay, of course they have the same dominant function as me, but then they also got that NE, which can give them a different angles and things like that that I wouldn't personally do. That I usually wouldn't think about is because I'm an SE user. So I tend to have. Sorry, let me fix it a little bit. So I have a ton of respect for that type. But one thing I notice, INTP versus ISTP is INTP when they in their flow state, it's a little bit different. Like by flow state, I mean like let's say like every type can have something that they're really good at and can get into a flow state. You know what I mean? Hey, chill out, bro. Damn kidding. You trying to play. But anyways, as far as getting into the flow state, one main difference between the INTP and the ISTP. Now, before I get into that even too, just so you guys know, INTP and ISTP is a commonly, they can be very hard to tell apart sometimes, especially when we're both young. INTP and ISTP looks identical when they're young, but as they get older, they become easier to tell apart. Of course, they're very similar, but yeah, like when you talk about getting in the flow state, one of the main differences I know between the INTP and the ISTP is when the INTP gets in their flow state, they don't tend to thrive on adrenaline rush too much. They don't really thrive on excitement either too much. I don't think either. Maybe they do thrive on excitement, but they're not as much as like counting on the excitement of it to get into that flow state and stuff like that. They mostly like it's almost like they calmly destroy you. Like when you talk about INTP in their flow state, or when they get in they getting in your bag, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a little different experience, I think, for them. They don't really thrive on adrenaline rushes, really, as opposed to like now we want to talk about the ISTP. The ISTP, when we get in our flow state, that's where our main difference comes in. Like ISTP, we got the extroverted sensing, so it makes us thrive on adrenaline rushes and things like that. So you said ISTP, ISTP is going to thrive on those adrenaline rushes a lot more often. That's going to be like one of our main. That's going to be the difference. Like we both types are apathetic and stuff like that, but then when it comes to getting in that flow state, ISTP can come alive more and things like that. They thrive on that excitement and that adrenaline rush a lot more. INTPs, it's surgical. I'll tell you what INTPs though, it's still just as respectable. INTPs got that like surgical, calmly destroy you. You know what I'm saying? Which I respect. I'm gonna tell you right now, a lot of my favorite characters in shows and stuff and movies tend to be the INTP of the show. Usually is my favorite character. A lot of times, like for example, Dr. Manhattan, INTP. That's like my favorite character in Watchmen. Let me think about some other ones. Spider-Man's an INTP. Some people think Spider-Man's an ISTP, but he's not an ISTP. I think the reason, I've heard Spider-Man typed as ESFP too, which is a pretty bad typing. But I feel like when people try to type Spider-Man as an extroverted sensor, they looking at his powers and stuff like that and the Spidey sense, and they feel like that reminds them of extroverted sensing. But the thing about that is that doesn't have anything to do with his type. That's just his superpowers. You strip away his superpowers, he's an INTP. You know what I'm saying? So that doesn't count when you talk about something that involves his superpowers, like having superhuman senses. Like people think of extroverted sensing as like having superhuman senses at his peak in a way. You know what I'm saying? That don't have nothing to do with extroverted sensing. Like I feel like that's what people are doing with that. But anyway, Spider-Man's an INTP. What's some other ones? Those are the top two I can think of right now. Oh yeah, Beast off X-Men. Beast off X-Men is an INTP. Like they tend to be my favorite characters. Very interesting. Of course, like I've been rediscovering because you guys don't know my favorite rapper J Electronica. Um, like underground people know who that is. Like you in the underground rap, conscious rap, which I was more into, but I'm still into it. I've actually been rediscovering some of his stuff I used to listen to back when I got into him. He's been my favorite rapper for the longest. But the thing is, he just doesn't put music out anymore. But he's an INTP. He's a notorious one. MF Doom. I remember in the past, I did think that MF Doom could have been INFJ or something, but honestly, that wasn't. No, I don't think so. I forgot to consider him being an INTP, which I've heard other people consider. And I get he's an INTP. MF Doom. It's just something I forgot to. I never really tried to type MF Doom like that. I just kind of. He's another one of my favorite artists though. Two INTPs though. I tend to admire them quite a lot. I'll tell you that. And they tend to respect me as well. INTPs I've met. Now, it's another interesting thing. Like we talking about, like in fiction, Attack on Titan. So if you haven't seen Attack on Titan, I guess I ain't gonna spoil them. But like the whole grudge match, Captain Levi. Everybody said Captain Levi was an ISTP, but he had a grudge match with an INTP. I can't think of the guy's name, but whoever the Beast Titan guy, the guy that was the Beast Titan, he was typed as an INTP. I didn't type these people. I actually looked the list up. This is one of the few accurate lists I found online where all the types were actually right. But they had Captain Levi typed as ISTP, and the guy that was the Beast Titan, I can't think of the name on the top of their head, INTP. They had a little grudge match. That was interesting. I'm like, because I was watching it, and I'm thinking like, okay, they had a grudge match in real life. If ISTP and INTP had a grudge match in real life, it would kind of go like that. And that was a very interesting dynamic though. But yeah, I just find them to be pretty brilliant, honestly. And I'm pretty sure a lot of them think the same about my type as well. Um, but yeah, that's just a one key difference. Like ISTPs are more likely to thrive on adrenaline rushes when they get in their flow state. INTPs, they don't necessarily thrive on adrenaline rushes like that, but it's more like they're gonna calmly destroy you, like type of thing, which is interesting. I'm trying to think of as opposed to adrenaline rush what they focus on. No, that might be a better way to explain it. Um, but I don't know. Maybe I'll think of a better way later. But anyways, thanks for watching.